Hey, what's going on, guys? Welcome to another episode of Expedite Travels. Today is not going to be a regular weekly recap video. Today I'm going to be talking about preventative maintenance on a Ram ProMaster. Talking about the 1500, 2500, 3500 with the 3.6 liter Pentastar gas motor. So the motor that's in all the gas engines, gas ProMasters. So what I've done maintenance wise so far, and I have 172,000 miles on this. Original engine, original transmission, original rad. And basically what I do for maintenance, every 10,000 miles, change the oil. If you're not running AMSOIL, which I am, it's a 25,000 mile oil, good for 25,000 miles. I change my oil filter every 10,000 miles. Every 10,000 miles, I change the oil filter and leave the oil in. And I run motor coat. Okay, so if you're not going to run AMSOIL, I strongly recommend you go with a 100%, that's right, not full synthetic, 100% synthetic motor oil. Something like a Pennzoil Ultra Platinum, I believe, is 100%. That's basically one of the closest oils you can get that close to AMSOIL on all the Novak tests. So you want 100% synthetic oil. You don't really want a full synthetic. That's just fancy lawyer words for we made our own synthetic, but it's not 100%. So you want to look at a bottle, it says 100%, get that oil. Run the 520, change the oil every 10,000 miles, get yourself a filter. Make sure you go with either the Mopar oil filter or go with a Mobile 1 oil filter. Those are good for 20,000 miles. I forget the model number now, but it's Mobile 1 makes the oil filter. And Mopar, get the original Mopar. Don't buy the cheap oil filters that are $5-6. Buy a little more pricey. Well, actually, the Mobile 1, I believe, is about $6 or $7, and the Mopar is about that. So don't buy an off-name, cheapo, Filippo oil filter. Buy the good quality ones. Now for transmission, change your transmission fluid. Do not get a flush. I repeat, do not get a transmission flush. That is a waste of money, and it ruins your transmission. I don't care what any mechanic says. I've been told this by people that I trust. A really good transmission guy, and he's been doing this for 30-something years, told me, do not get the flush. Drop your pan. It comes in a kit. Drop your pan. You get the filter and the gasket. You want to change that filter every time you change the transmission fluid. It's like basically it's the same thing as changing you don't change your engine oil and leave that oil filter on there. You change it every time you change the fluid. Have somebody drop the pan and take that gasket off, throw it away, take the filter off, pop a new filter in it, put the new gasket on, put the pan back in, and it takes, I believe it's 8 or 9 quarts, and make sure you get the ATF plus 4, which is full synthetic. So change that every 60,000 miles religiously. Your transmission's gonna last. Okay, these are a beefed up version. It's a 62, I think, TE or transmission. It's essentially the same transmission that's in a minivan, but it has beefed up components in it, and it has basically a different computer. Basically, the computer says the transmission, okay, look, this guy just stomped on it. We're not going to rev the living daylights out of it and blow the transmission up. People that have transmission problems, probably, I'm going to guess, unless it's a manufacturing defect, didn't change the transmission fluid when they're supposed to, especially if you're over the road. Heat kills your transmission. I don't care how good your transmission fluid is. I don't care if it's $100 a bottle and they say it'll never overheat. No, it will. So change if you're going up and down mountains and stuff like that, change it sooner. Maybe change it every 40,000. You know what I mean? Or get yourself a general application dipstick. Pop it down into because there's a dipstick tube. There's no dipstick. You have to buy that at, I think, Advance Auto, or somebody has it. Dip the transmission dipstick down there and pull it out. And if it's still like a reddish color, pinkish color, you're good. If you see it getting dark, change it. Change it right away. And only run the Mopar coolant. From what I was told, don't get the aftermarket stuff. Apparently when you mix the two, it clogs up your heater core. So only buy the Mopar 50-50 mix, or get the concentrate or whatever if you know how to mix it. Do that. Get the OEM stuff from the dealership. I've heard of people, like I said, problems with, oh, I grabbed this off-brand and I pitted the heads because the coolant wasn't the right spec and it wrecked it's aluminum. The heads are aluminum, so you got to run the proper coolant and maybe change it every year and a half or 2 years or whatever, or have somebody do a test on your coolant to make sure it's still good. You know, another thing, maintenance thing, do not idle the Ram ProMasters. Do not idle them for days on end. For like maybe 15-20 minutes, half hour should be fine, even if you can put it up at a high idle. The problem is there's a two-stage pump in these, a low speed or low RPM pump and a high RPM pump. So when you get above, I believe it's 1,000 RPMs or up to 1,500 RPMs, it switches from the low speed to the high speed pump. If you let it idle, you don't get enough oil to the top of the engine. You wear out the rocker or roller rocker bearings. There's bearings in the roller rockers, and that's where you get the tappity tap 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 noise, like somebody's tap dancing on the top of your motor. Yeah, do not idle it. It's okay to idle it, to let it warm up, let it cool down. Maybe you're stuck in traffic jam or something, for it's super hot or super cold, it's going to be okay to idle it for 10-15 minutes. Or if you want, high idle it. But I recommend do not idle it for hours on end. If you're in a survival situation where you need to idle it for heat or cool yourself so you don't fry to death, then by all means do that. But like I said, I do not recommend sitting in Laredo and you're there for 3 days and just continuously idling your motor. You're going to kill the top end of the engine. I'm trying to think what else. Oh, if you get a battery light your little battery light comes on, stop immediately, pull it over, get it towed to a garage or dealership. Don't drive it. If the battery light comes on, it's probably 9 times out of 10 it's your alternator is not producing enough amperage to the battery. Don't do what I did. I was stuck in the middle of the desert on the I-10 in between New Mexico and Anthony, Texas, and I drove it and I blew the power control module. I should have stopped, but I'm like, oh, I can make it. Next thing you know, bang, the engine revved up and I heard a big bang. It actually blew the power control module, and the alternator was garbage anyways, but I did some damage to my van. Also, carry a spare alternator with you. You can get it at, Rock Auto or somewhere like that, auto parts store, O'Reilly's, Advanced Auto, AutoZone, you know what I mean. Carry a spare alternator with you, just so you don't have that oopsie moment and, oh look, they're on back order for a week or something like that, or they have to overnight one from the other side of the country, or some stupid thing, right? They're about $600 or $700 from the dealership, or $800 from the dealership, depending where you're at in the country. You can get certified reman ones for probably like $400 or $500. So do the math. Same thing with the starters. You can buy. I'd recommend you keeping a starter with you too. That way you can go to any mechanic shop and have them swap out your starter or alternator. Here you go, I have the part. They charge you labor. Bada boom, bada bing, you're back in service. Also, depending on how many miles you run, where you're going to, the weather, and all that other stuff, I recommend you changing your serpentine belt at least once a year. Change it once a year. Change the idler pulleys and all that stuff. You can get it in a kit where it comes with the idler pulleys, so you get the new bearings and everything, so you don't get a bad idler pulley. The bearing goes, it locks up, and bang, the belt breaks, and then you're in trouble. So get it done at least once a year. If it needs it or not, it's better to change it now when you're on your downtime, then break down on the side of the road in the middle of nowhere, or in the middle of a snowstorm or a rainstorm or a sandstorm, or wherever you're at. It's cheaper to fix it while it's getting worked on. I believe that's about it. I think I've covered everything. So hopefully you guys found the video informative. This is for all the people that run ProMasters, van lifers, expediters, courier service, people that just have them for a personal vehicle. So this video is for you. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope it helps somebody out, and we'll catch you guys on the next one. Thank you so much for watching. If you could give me a thumbs up, that's awesome. If you didn't like the video, give me that thumbs down, man. That's fine too. Thumbs down don't hurt my feelings. And if you like my content, please consider subscribing. That would be fan-farking-tastic. It would make my day. And don't forget to click the bell. And we'll catch you in the next one. Thanks for your time. And I answer all comments in the comment section. So you have a comment, leave me a comment. I'll get back to you. Bye for now.